Okay, so welcome back to another Anime Guardian video. So in this video, we're going to be checking out pretty much the Chainsaw Man update. We're going to pretty much try to get the units and of course go through the kits and stuff. And there's also a new Chainsaw Man event. So these are pretty much the 6 new units. 4 of the units you can get them from banners, and 2 of the units you pretty much get them from capsules. So to actually get Capsule, you have to do this Chainsaw Man event. It's not really difficult, if I'm going to be honest, except for maybe Hell could like somewhat difficult for some people, but honestly, easy and hard, they're pretty easy to clear. If I'm gonna be honest, just bring full DPS, and of course try to have like, I believe Sukuna will carry you by a lot. So for like pretty much hard and easy, I'll go through Hell because Hell could be a little bit difficult for some people due to like I guess one of the bosses. But anyways, yeah, we're pretty much gonna go through the event. I already, you guys are, or you can see I pretty much grinded the event by a lot. And I also have like the new pretty much artifacts. So yeah, there are pretty much 5 artifacts that they added, and I already have all of them. One of them is pretty much this Toxic Greatsword. Every time the unit attacks, there's a 25 or 12.5% chance of inflicting toxic. Pretty nice stuff. A Cursed Book as well. It's also, I think, where was it? Yeah, Nightmare Hook. Also really amazing as well. This is really good for Sukuna, I'm pretty sure. Greenbone Greatsword does all that. Also really amazing of a skill, or a really good like artifact. And Dark Greatsword, which is also pretty good as well. But yeah, pretty much I'm gonna be trying to summon in this video, trying to get of course all the Chainsaw Man units. The most difficult unit honestly to get is Makima because of her, I guess, percentage of, it's just not good. I mean, there is pity in the game, so that's at least somewhat decent. But you check the index, look at the rates, bro. The rates is honestly really terrible to get the units, so just keep that in mind. But yeah, also from the capsule, like I said, you guys can pretty much get the new units. It's a 0.1% chance, and Hajun is also 0.1% chance. You guys can see I already grinded a little bit of it, so I'm gonna be honestly using all of it. So let's see if we can get the unit. If I don't, I'll be pretty sad, but let's see. And we don't get the unit. Okay, that was very unlucky, if I'm gonna be honest. That means I need to use, I need to get more of those darkness capsules. Let's see if we get a unit in this one. Bro. We also don't get a unit as well. Damn. Okay. I don't know how my luck is this terrible, but honestly, we're probably gonna do some summons. I think you can do like, I don't know how much you can do. Like you can do like 200, or okay, 100 is maximum. So yeah, pretty much we're gonna get the units and stuff. Okay, so we already got. Let's see what we got already. So we already got pretty much Denji. Okay. Why does it say like that night market thing? Even though I didn't get that from the night market, if I'm gonna be honest. Honestly, I have no clue. But anyways, let's keep summoning. I'm gonna try to get honestly all 3 of the units. The pity isn't the worst thing ever, but definitely you need to grind a lot in this event, if I'm gonna be honest, to honestly hit pity if you're unlucky. I probably will hit pity if I'm gonna be honest. We'll see though. Okay, so pretty much after a bunch of summons, we were able to get pretty much the 3 units. I wasted a lot. You guys can see I wasted 500k. Now, I'm honestly gonna try to get like the units from like these capsules. Okay, I don't have enough. Oops, that was my bad. I don't know why I did that, but let's get 100. I think we have enough for 100. I'm gonna try to honestly get these capsule unit first before like getting Makima, because of like that terrible rate, if I'm gonna be honest, because there is no way in hell am I gonna, if I'm like really lucky, then sure, but like honestly don't know. Like bro, look at this, 290, still no new units. Okay, yeah, honestly the best thing to do right now is definitely to AFK these events, because I need to try and get the units. And yeah, but yeah, honestly with that said though, I'm gonna do Hell once just to show you guys on how to like really beat it, and then afterwards pretty much I'm gonna go on AFK mode, and we're honestly gonna be grinding the event a lot. And then when I pretty much have enough currency, I'm gonna try to get to 1 million currency, and then I'll be back. If I'm gonna be honest, I might try to get a bunch more capsules so I can hopefully get the unit. And getting Makima is gonna be honestly really difficult. But yeah, you're gonna do it on super fast wave, which is the most difficult one. Pretty much when you start, you can use auto clicker if you really want to, or not auto click, time task. You want to have your unit manager open and your Z ability open. So then you pretty much do this, place down 2 Senkus, and then your goal is to just upgrade it to upgrade 3, and that's really it. And then your goal is pretty much to max out Robin, place down Sid. Sid's gonna be your only DPS because of his atomic ability is really OP. So yeah, alright, so that's pretty much good enough for Sid. Now you're gonna place down Robin. You're gonna pretty much max out Robin. You're gonna auto upgrade, And then after Robin's maxed out, you're pretty much gonna place, I would say place Sid around like maybe here, if I'm gonna be honest. You want to be able to hit all the units, but pretty much the boss will spawn around here. So we're gonna be able to hit it, but yeah, we're gonna place Sid probably at around, I would say here. And yeah, you guys can see 6 max level, and we're gonna pretty much use this atomic universe ability. Our goal is to get tons of stacks. Once we're at like wave 49-ish, we're gonna pop pretty much atomic universe, and Sid will honestly auto kill the enemy. And yeah, we're just gonna honestly skip till that. Alright, so we're pretty much about to reach wave 49. Yeah, wave 49, then we're gonna pop this ability, and then it's pretty much gonna play this cutscene. Pretty much after the cutscene plays, your camera's gonna become pretty much broken, because after cutscene plays, your camera's at a different placement, but now they finally fixed it, so your camera now will pretty much be at the place where you started and stuff. So yeah, that's pretty much how you really beat the Curse Book or Hell Devil event. There's also another method you can use, which is pretty much pure DPS, but what you need is Sakuna and probably like traits on these, or not traits, but artifacts on these units as well as like Exceliear traits. But I'm gonna showcase that as well, if I'm gonna be honest. So this is pretty much the team I'm gonna be running. Your goal is pretty much, I believe, to have Sakuna. Now, if you have artifacts, like if I can find it, you have the Nightmare Hook, you want to use it, and if you have Ancient on it, that would be amazing. But the reason why you want to use this Nightmare Hook is because of its deal 150 more percent more damage to enemies that are already cursed. So this is a really good artifact, and Sakuna, he does curse, so that is honestly pretty damn OP. So I was using Emerald Whisper. You can use honestly any. Now, if you have like traits or like these artifacts on units, you guys should honestly equip it, because it'll help you a lot more with like clearing these events as well. And the reason why I say you want to have Ancient is because it can pretty much, if you have Ancient, you can place down an extra unit. So even if they do have Monarch on them, you can place down like a second one. So that's why it's really OP. Okay, so super fast wave as well. We're pretty much going to place down Senku again. So the same method where we're pretty much going to be using Senku, of course. This is more, I'm not sure, I would say this is more of like a free-to-play option, but I mean, if you have Sakuna and 3 other like strong, and I mean like really strong and like meta DPSs, you can honestly do this method, because I mean, it's a little bit of a slower method, but it can work most definitely. Alright, so now that's enough upgrades. Honestly, for Senku, you don't really need to upgrade this much. You can upgrade him to upgrade 2, and then he's honestly good to go. But now your goal is pretty much to max out Robin. I'm going to open my unit manager, but yeah, your goal is going to pretty much max out Robin. And now pretty much you want to place your unit around this area, because the boss spawns like at here, and you're going to pretty much want to place units around it and stuff. Alright, now we're going to place down Sakuna. Of course, we're going to place down 2 Sakunas. Alright, so pretty nice stuff. And now we're going to place down Jinwoo as well. I think I can place down 2. Yep, I can place down 2. Gojo is going to be around here, and Wing Ling is also going to be around here. And other than that, you're just going to pretty much going to wait now. Wait till wave 49, 50 and stuff, and honestly, you guys will see, we'll kill the boss pretty quickly. And yeah, just like that, they're all pretty much dead now. Pretty simple. You really want to have pretty much all DPSs. If you have this set up, then that's really amazing as well. You can also replace Gojo with Sid if you have Sid, but that's really the two ways to beat the event. I mean, if there are other ways, please like let us know or let me know in the comments below, because those are the only two ways that I know of at the moment. But anyways, I'm pretty much gonna be doing some more AFK, and yeah, when I get probably close to 1,000,000, a ton of capsule, I'll pretty much be back. Hopefully we can get the units by then, but if we don't, it would suck. But yeah, honestly, who knows? We'll see, I guess. Okay, so we're pretty much back now. I did a lot more grinding than grinding for almost close to a day now. So yeah, we got to 1,000 of this darkness and also 1,000 Hajun corpse or capsules. We're gonna be opening them. Hopefully we get the unit. We'll see. So let's use 1,000 rolls. I mean, 1,000 rolls is a lot. Okay, can I only open like 999 at the same time, or? Let's see. Okay, there we go. We got 2 of the units. Okay, I will gladly take that. Open one more. Okay, nice, nice. Now, darkness. Let's open 999. Let's see. Yeah, we got 5 of it. That's kind of insane. Okay, I will gladly take that if I'm going to be honest. If you check my units, yeah, they're all over here. 5 of it, kind of crazy. Also, one of the Hajuns. Okay, so now pretty much with all the rest of the currency, I'm going to be spending that pretty much on the banner, and let's see if we can finally at least pull Makima. Okay, so pretty much after that summon, we weren't able to get Makima. Yeah, you guys can see we weren't able to get her. So honestly, I might have to AFK some more. Unless, I mean, if I trade off my units for Makima, people might do it, but hey, I'm not gonna do that. I'd rather grind it myself, if I'm gonna be honest. It's not in the night market, right? I highly doubt. Yeah, it's not in the night market. Okay, so yeah, pretty much we're back to AFKing, I guess. I'm gonna try this maybe a few more times. If I don't get Makima, I might just honestly showcase the unit without Makima, because that 0.0045 chance is honestly pretty insane, if I'm gonna be honest. But yeah, anyways, with that said, I'm pretty much gonna do some more of the Chainsaw Man event, and yeah, I'll be back when I'm finished. Okay, so pretty much after a bunch of farming, we finally got Makima. Over here, we also got her Exceliear. All my units are pretty much, they all have like amazing stats on them, and as well as Exceliear traits. So yeah, it took honestly a long time. I want to say close to a week to get Makima. It probably shouldn't have, but with like, I guess, school, with internet, with macroing not working sometimes, with just, I don't know, it just takes time. And I had to hit pity to get Makima, which is kind of honestly insane, but yeah, we got Makima at the end. So now I'm pretty much going to be showcasing all these 6 of the units. Alright, so we are pretty much in the infinite mode. I'm pretty much going to be showcasing these 3 units first, and then I'm going to be showcasing the other 3 units. Okay, so we're going to start by showcasing Denji first. So we're going to place him over here. He has a pretty small AoE, or a small range, if I'm going to be honest. So, okay, he has a bunch of upgrades in Alt Berserk, okay. And also his stats is pretty good from the placement. Alright, so let's upgrade him. 1,000,000? That's pretty insane. Hybrid. Okay, I don't even know what that means, but I'm guessing his tack changed and stuff, I'm assuming. Alright, let's upgrade. 2.5 million. That's actually quite good, if I'm going to be honest. For a banner unit, that's quite good. Alright, so passive. Charm Slayer. Deals 100% damage to charmed enemies and is immune to boss damage, okay? Bleeding Rampage deals 100% damage to bleeding enemies. Every kill increases own damage plus 4% up to 20%, and every attack increases active skill damage by 1% indefinitely. Okay, so his active deals 500% damage to all enemies within range. That's quite good if I'm gonna be honest. With the buff, he's honestly pretty insane if I'm gonna be honest. Let's use Alt Berserk. Let's check this one out. Okay, so his damage becomes 11 million, 11.6 million. That's quite good if I'm going to be honest. And does it have cooldown? Okay, it does have a cooldown. Alright, so yeah, you guys see his damage is increasing for like every time he kills an enemy. So I'm assuming his like damage will always keep on increasing. I'm assuming that. Okay, but that's pretty good. Now with Robin, let's check it out real quick. With Robin 75%, his stats is looking like 7.2 million, and it's always increasing, so that's pretty insane. Alright, now we're gonna be showcasing this unit. I'm gonna place him over here. Reese. Okay, so let's showcase. I personally haven't watched too much of pretty much Chainsaw Man, so yeah, my pronunciation for characters might be bad. So Bomb Attack. Okay, let's check out that one. Okay, pretty cool stuff. 1.3 million. Okay, not bad. And in her damage, I'm assuming it's a she. Her damage is also increasing, right? Okay, it's only at 1.4. Okay, so her passive ability, Boss Demolition, deal 300% damage to bosses, but every attack on boss increases her cooldown by 0.1%. Alright, so Explosive Assault, every attack has a 10% chance of applying double damage and 25% critical chance. Each attack increases her own damage by 2% up to 24%. Okay, so I'm assuming that 1.5 million is her at her max percentage, like at 24%. That's what I'm assuming at least. Okay, so yeah, Firework deals 500% damage to all enemies within the range. Yeah, same ability as Denji. Overall, pretty good. Now let's max out Robin as well, so we can showcase her stats. Let's see here. So 2.5 million. It's nothing too crazy. Weaker than Denji, but I mean, it's not terrible if I'm gonna be honest. Alright, so the last pretty much banner unit for this Chainsaw Man update is pretty much Aki. So alright, so now let's go through his kin stuff. So animation looks like that. He pretty much shoots out a bunch of guns. Let's check out this one. Alright, pretty cool. Pretty simple animation, so nothing too crazy if I'm gonna be honest. Why, bro? Did I just see 9 million? What the heck? He's like increasing his damage or something. Okay, maybe it has something to do with the passive. So let's read that real quick. So skill reset protocols. Every time the active skill is used, reduce active cooldown by 10%. Up max is 4 stacks, so 40%. On 5th use, cooldown returns to normal. Okay, I'm assuming not. Alright, so cooldown returns to normal. Alright, so targeted barrage. Every attack on the same enemy increases damage by 25% or plus 25%. Has 20% chance of critical chance, I guess. And for every attack on the same target, increases active skill damage by 0.1. Okay, pretty nice stuff. And 500%. Okay, and has a 500% range as well, hitting all enemies on the map. Okay, and you guys can see his damage is like increasing with like every attack and stuff, but it's like decreasing afterwards. So I'm assuming that's his like passive and stuff. Alright, let's see. I got the statue. Okay, so 2.1 million can go up to 9.4 million. It probably can go up even higher. 9.4 million. Okay, so now let's activate this. Alright, so 11.2 million. That's quite insane if I'm gonna be honest. 11.2 million. Alright, so I'm guessing 11.2 million is his highest stats. So overall, pretty good of a unit as well if I'm gonna be honest. But yeah, those are pretty much the 3 Chainsaw Man banner units. Now we're gonna go through the other 3 units. Alright, so we're gonna start by showcasing the Darkness Devil first. Animation looks like that. Pretty simple stuff. Okay, so attack stats, nothing too crazy. So now let's upgrade him. Dark Cuts. Okay, let's check out that one. Okay, pretty cool bunch of cuts. Alright, so these are pretty much his stats. Alright, so passive. So Abyssal Devil. Attack deals, I honestly still cannot read that. That's some sort of like ability, but I cannot read it if I'm gonna be honest. Immune to stun and bosses attacks. Okay, deals 100% damage to bleeding enemies. Alright, instantly reduce cooldowns minus 25% when hitting bleeding enemies. If not attacking, cooldown returns to normal. Okay. Alright, so Dark Dominance. Apply slow for 4 seconds. Increase the own damage per wave plus 1% up to 200%. Okay, so every wave his damage goes up. That's pretty nice. and reduces active skill cooldowns by -1% per attack. Okay, and apparently he can hit enemies from all the way over there. I mean, from the looks of it, at least he can hit enemies from over there. Yeah, because if we place him down, like I'm gonna sell him real quick, but pretty much if I place him over here, he shouldn't be able to hit enemies from over there. But like, he does, or I guess he doesn't. Maybe that was a bug. I'm gonna assume that's a bug. Yeah, I'm gonna assume that's a bug. Okay, but anyways, Full Darkness. Let's check out this one. Deals 500% damage and has a 500% range, so hitting all enemies on the map. All right. Honestly, not too bad of a character with his, like, I guess these passive that will increase his own damage. So Full Darkness, that's activated, 8.6 million, pretty good. Let's upgrade, auto upgrade Robin. Let's check out his stats now, if I can see it. 9.8 million, okay, quite decent. If I'm gonna be honest, 9.8 million is quite decent. But I'm guessing, yeah, he definitely needs like a bleed unit to, I guess, make him much stronger. So I'm assuming like most of these like Chainsaw Man units does bleed, so that's actually pretty nice at least. Okay, so now we're gonna go through Hachun, which is not a Chainsaw Man unit. Okay, so alright, so this is pretty much his stats right now. Overall, pretty cool stuff. Now let's pretty much upgrade him by a bunch. Alright, 1.7 million and full AoE. We'll actually take that. Animation looks pretty good as well. Alright, so Nihil Authority. Deal 100% damage to bosses. Stuns normal enemy for 2 seconds. Deals 100%. Deal plus 100% damage to all status affected enemies. Okay. And that max upgrade has 1% chance to instant kill boss and ignore all enemy defense. Not really gonna see that if I'm gonna be honest, that 1% chance, but who knows. Alright, so his other ability, Taikyoku. So every attack increases Hachun's own damage plus 10% up to 100%, has a 20% chance of applying dark damage, and Hachun is immune to stun and unaffected by boss attacks. Okay, pretty good as well. So what was his damage like before, I guess, his max? 1.5 million, so he went to 2.8 million. That's quite good. So Destroy Universe, same ability as I guess all the other units. I mean, I wish they had like a different ability for these characters, but I mean, most of them, they all pretty much have increased damage by some percentage, and either you hit your like the range that you have, or you hit the whole map, I guess. Alright, so the stats with Robin, let's check it out. 3.7 million, that's quite good, or 3.9 now. Alright, so 4 million is pretty much his max stats without any, with Robin and I guess all the traits and stuff. Alright, so Destroy Universe, let's check it out. 11.3 million. Quite good. Animation is actually quite sick as well. Pretty fast of an animation, but looks pretty cool. 11.3 million isn't half bad. So yeah, that's pretty much Hachun, God of Universe. Alright, now we're gonna showcase Makima. Alright, so now let's go through her kit. She has a pretty insane range, if I'm gonna be honest. Alright, so 11 upgrades as well. Alright, so these are pretty much her stats. Pretty simple stuff. Animations, yeah, pretty simple. It's nothing really too crazy. Bang. Okay, let's check out this one. Okay, pretty cool. And yeah, these are pretty much her max stats. Alright, so wave control. Every wave passes increased critical by 5%, so crit chance by 5%, and damage plus 5% per wave. So max is 50, I'm assuming for both. 14% chance of applying bleed at max upgrade, increased damage by 20% and range by 20%. Okay, so charm control. Every attack has a 10% chance to charm, causing enemy to collide and take 15% of their HP damage. If enemies survive, they take another 15% damage. Deals 50% more damage to bosses, 20% chance of crit chance, and 50% damage to cursed enemies. Okay, so I mean, it's not bad if I'm gonna be honest. I mean, this charm thing and honestly these bleed thing could come into effect, so they could be really useful. I mean, it is a 14% chance, but from the looks of it, at least, it's like applying majority of the time. You guys can see, like, every time she attacks, it's applying it to the enemy. Damn, okay. So I'm assuming bleed and charm, they're both really OP. Alright, so now let's use Devil Control. Alright, so Devil Control deals 500% more damage and has a 500% range, okay? Hitting all enemies on the map and pushing all enemies back to the start point. That's quite good of ability. Let me see real quick. replace her down. She already has his ability. Okay, so very similar to Poochie, I'm assuming. Alright, so now let's see her stats with Robin real quick. Alright, so her stats is looking like, yeah, 3.4 million. So now let's use Devil Control. Alright, 10 million. Well, honestly, take that's pretty good. Yeah, honestly, with that said, that's really it for this video, if I'm gonna be honest. And yeah, those are pretty much the 6 units that they added to this Chainsaw Man update. But yeah, I'll end out the video here, and I hope you guys enjoyed it.